All right, welcome back. So this is the closest thing to the final sheet that I'm going to have on these crypto investment tracker Excel sheets. I have taken out the VBA coding of an Excel sheet and gone with the inherent form that is built into Excel. I have simplified the data entry. I have combined more tables to see where all of your transactions land. And I include a source sheet for how I built this. The tutorials that I used to mash together this final product, if you will. So that if anyone gets hung up on how I did what I did, or you want to know how I did what I did, you'll have the links, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away to a complete overhead so that I can zoom in on the actual sheet so that you can see exactly what's going on here. I'm going to run through this as if you're downloading this sheet for one purpose only. You go to luxitam.com, you download this free final sheet that I've created. Okay, there's a few other sheets that I've created over the last month or two that are there. This one will be highlighted a little bit different to show you this is the most current, new, most up-to-date sheet that I've done so far. It's the one I'm actually going to now use. I've been excited about all of them, but this one I'm really going to actually use for sure from now on for the rest of this year, most likely. Unless I come across some new efficiencies that would help make these things better. Of course, if I do, I'll build it and I'll throw it out there for free like I usually do. So I'm going to assume you download this sheet. You have it up on your computer. You have this video playing on another screen, and you're walking through my tutorial with your sheet open in front of you, clicking around to see how all of this works. The first thing that I would tell you to do when you download the sheet, this may sound stupid and kind of redundant, and trust me, I get caught not being reminded on things like this all the time, so I'm going to do my due diligence. The first thing you're going to want to do is download this sheet. Then you're going to want to open it up, and you're going to go File, Save As, and rename it. Let's say your name is Jake. You're going to rename it Jake's Excel Crypto Sheet, whatever. Put it on your desktop or wherever you put it, and now that's your working copy. The copy you downloaded from me, throw it in a folder somewhere on your computer and never touch it. If you screw up on your sheet, you can always just reopen the template that you downloaded, File, Save As, Jake, try number 2, and just keep going. You always have a clean copy of my sheet. If, for whatever reason, you lose it or whatever, go back to luxitam.com and download another sheet. It's that simple. You always want to be working in a non-templated form. So, in any case, that will kind of free up your mind to go ahead and try to break my sheet. And if you screw up, who cares? You have a clean copy sitting over on the left right there on your desktop. So it'll make you not worry about messing things up because you kind of can't if you just follow along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the sheet. I'm going to do a really brief cursory show of each tab at the bottom and what they are. And then I'm going to run through a couple scenarios where we're going to pretend that these are actual transactions that are being performed by you, the person doing the transacting with real money in the real world on a crypto exchange, and then coming back to your sheet and annotating it and watching how all the information populates the way that I've set this thing up so you can see what flow I was going for here. Other than that, I hope you enjoy this sheet. This one took me a lot of time to work on. I worked on it in the background for the last month, and I just kept playing with it and trying to think logic. What is logical on a day-to-day basis? And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cut down. Let me rephrase that. If you get invested in cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, if you're involved in this at any level and you're just a passive person who's just like, I'm going to buy Bitcoin once a month, $1,000, and I'm going to invest in it like an IRA, you still can use this sheet to annotate your current holdings. If you're a day trader and you're in and out of the market all day long, several times a day, this is less for you. This isn't really for you. Maybe your end position, sure. But a lot of transacting and some, leverage trading and all that, and swing trading and scalp trading, I have different sheets on my website for you to use to do that kind of stuff. This is more for you and your family have made investments in cryptocurrency, you continue to make investment, or you as a person, you're making investments in cryptocurrency, and you want to annotate your transactions that you've performed online. Yes, every single one of your exchanges will have a record of this stuff, but let's say you're sitting at home and on a Thursday, your wife comes in and says, honey, where are we at total in our portfolio? What do we look like? You don't want to go log into 15 exchanges and look at all your different balances and try to figure out where the hell you are with your valuation. So what you want to have is a one-stop shop where you can just sit down, open up your Excel sheet, go to your portfolio tab, which I'm going to show you. It'll show you everywhere you're at with every single coin, how many you still have, what the current price is, and what your overall unrealized profits are and values. You'll also be able to see per exchange what transactions have you done over time, historically memorialized for you to always see. Oh yeah, I remember at Coinbase for the last 6 months ago we did like 4 transactions and bought all these coins at these prices. You can go back and look at that. So it's a nice one-stop shop for you to see the health of your investments. So without further ado, let's get to the sheet. This is where I'm gonna just turn to, okay, here's what the sheet is and here's how to use it. All right, first things first, let's pump this thing up a little bit so we can see it. And I hope that works for you. I'm looking here on the screen. It looks like it should be okay. Maybe one tick down and we'll be all right. Let's go here. Hopefully that looks good. We'll find out after it's too late, if you will. So these are some of the tutorials I used in the creation of this Excel workbook. I include my sources in case you run into problems with the sheets. Hope this helps. So what I have here is links to any video that I watched or information. This is a static. Any information that I used to create this sheet is right here, okay? And if you have any questions, you can come to any of these sources right here, and these are direct links to me. Preferably, you put comments in the video that you're watching right now with questions, because it'll pop up for me and I'll know that this is what you're talking about. Otherwise, use any of this stuff down here. So this is your source sheet. That's all there is to that. Here's the reference sheet. The top 100 coins that I selected were from nomics.com. Okay, so if you want to go over to nomics.com, I'm going to bring that up here for you real quick. Let me bring this up for you guys. This is what I used. From number 1 all the way down to 100. Okay, so this is what I used as my source of. They change dynamically constantly, but I use this right here. You can use any of them. You can use CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, Live Coins, World Coin Index, whatever you want. But I use Nomics. Okay, so there's where I got my to start me off coins. I'm going to show you what happens if you find a coin that's not on this list. This right here, this video right here, which is also referenced right here. Okay, this video right here leads directly to how I built this particular table, which is very important. VLOOKUP for the portfolio to retrieve dynamic coin balances across all sheets. So this right here is being fed from all the transacting that you're doing on these sheets, because the portfolio needs to see this number right here. Okay, so let's go here. All right, so that's this sheet right here. Here's the template. Okay, so this is where you're going to take and click that little triangle up in the corner, highlights the whole sheet, Control C. You have a new sheet you want to create, you would create a new sheet right here. So this is what you would do. Okay, sorry, I had to step away for a second. So what we're going to do here is go back, copy. You just sit right here, you hit that triangle right there, Control C. Then you go to your new sheet and you go to A1 and you Control V. And there's your new sheet. Then you would come up here and you would rename it to whatever exchange it is that you're adding to your list of exchanges that you use. You would highlight in here, you would click Table Design. Let me pump this up so you can see it. I always forget to do that. Okay, so you're going to click Table Design. Then you're going to go to Filter Button and you're going to uncheck that, and that takes away those arrows. You don't need those. Okay, so there you go. Now you have a new sheet in here. Now we're going to get rid of this sheet because we're not going to use this. All right, so let's see here. All right, so we got that. We got your template here, if in case you want to add more exchange sheets to your exchange sheets down here. Now, I've provided you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've provided you with 12 sheets. Okay. If you need more than 12 sheets, that's a lot of exchanges. I mean, to be honest with you, that's you could basically just come here and rename this one and use one of the ones I've provided you. You should probably never need to use this. If you're using more than, I mean, we'll see over time how many exchanges come online and people start swapping them in and out. But once you start annotating on a sheet, you never want to get rid of it. So let's say you're like, well, I'm never going to use VoyagerCrypto.com or Uniswap MetaMask and 1inch MetaMask. I'm going to rename these blah, 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 and you do whatever you want. That would be easier than doing it my way, because if you add a new sheet, then you have to come over here and you have to add right here. I have to remember to pump up each one of these screens. Okay, so you need to add, see, these are all the ones that I've included. So instead, you could just rename Binance, rename it whatever you want, like the exchange that you're using that I don't know about, and come over to exchanges and just go to Binance and rename it, and it'll reference it, okay, because they're linked. If you add another sheet, you have to come over here, insert a new column, you have to title it, push this over, and then you have to link it, and that's going to be done. You'll see the code here in a second. You see all this VLOOKUP and all this stuff right here, then you come over here, and you see all this data right here, and you see all this data right here, and then you come to portfolio, and you see this, especially this right here, it's saying ref sheet exchanges A5 through N475. Okay, so that's A5. Let me pump this back down a little bit so we can see it. So you got A5 all the way down to 475, because I give you a lot of room for 300 more coins. And it's going across all the way to the letter N, because that's the last column that it's going to read. So if you go back over to portfolio, you're going to see N 475. So from A to N, and if you inject a new column, you have to come up in here in this specific cell. You have to change this right here, and it's reading column number 14's information, which if you come over here, column number 14's information is the totals information. Okay, that's 1150, 11,500. Because it's adding up all these preset tokens that I put in, which I'll explain in a second. You're going to see 11,500 right here. That's where it's reading it from. So if you add another column, this is going to turn to 0, because it's going to go, where did that column go? You have to add it and change it and re-reference it. So it's if you add more things here and you get stuck, you definitely put a comment in the description, in the comments below this video, and say, hey, I did this, and how do I do that? And I'll walk you through it personally, or whatever the case may be. So this is why I say stick with these, rename them if you want to, but these are pretty much the main ones in the United States of America. If you're overseas, change the names, etc., etc. If you want to add more, we can get to that. Now, so you kind of see the complexity of what ends up starting to happen once you start tinkering with the system that I built. I wouldn't know where you're at in the process, so I would have to find out, and we would have to go through that together, obviously. Okay, so here we go. Let me move this over here like that. Make it big enough so you can see. I'm trying to get this to participate, and it's not, so it's like wonky. All right, let's go down here. All right, there we go. A little bit better. Okay, we're gonna do Coinbase real quick. Okay, so we're gonna come here now. So you have your source sheet, you got your reference sheet, top 100 coins that I use, my list, reference sheet. Okay, this is a coin balances per exchange. So Coinbase has each one of these has 1,000 tokens of Bitcoin. Why? Because I preset every single one of them with 1,000. As I'm clicking down here, you see they're not moving because they're exactly the same. This is a preset. You want to have at least one transaction in to make this form work that I'm about to show you. So I'm not going to mess with the template. We'll look at the portfolio in a minute. Now, let's pretend like we're at this point. Now, real quick, just for some due diligence before you get started, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look all the way up here at the very, very top, right up here, okay? And you're going to see this little button right here. This is called a form. If you click it and you're not inside this table right here, but instead right here, it's going to say there's an error. Now, if you click inside the table, anywhere inside this table, and then click that form button, a form is actually going to come up. It'll have the name of whatever sheet you're on and all of the inputs that are right here. Okay, so instead of typing left to right down here in the table, you just click inside the table and click form, and you're doing data entry. Boom, you're done. It's always going to display this transaction right here, this first one. You want to click new to add a new transaction. In our case, because I gave you a template with pre-filled information, you're going to want to edit right over the top of this information with the form by staying 1 of 1. The next one you're going to do is 1 of 2, 1 of 3, 1 of 4, 1 of 5. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a quick second here. So the first thing I want to do is show you how to get this form. So what you want to do is, if you don't have this little button right here in your Excel copy, let me make this a little bit bigger, but that's not really helping that part. So up here, right here, this little teeny drop down arrow, click it. You're going to go right down here to more commands right here. Click more commands. Boom. This is going to pop up for you. You want to go to quick access toolbar. You want to click right up here in this drop down box. You want to click all commands. My bad. All commands. Go down to F. Okay. FORM. You're just looking for the form. Oops. Wrong way. Okay. Right here. Where are you? Right here. Form. Right here. You click this. And then you click add, which I already have it here. Click add and click OK. Once you do that, you will have this button up here. Remember, you have to be inside the table. Click anywhere inside this table, anywhere inside here. Click the form and it will pop up. And the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to edit this fake Bitcoin transaction. And let's pretend that today is your first day. You bought a coin, you just downloaded my sheet, and you're going to enter in your first coin transaction on Coinbase. Okay, so on 5/26/2021, you bought Cardano ADA. Okay, and you bought 1,000 tokens. Let's just keep that there. And let's see, you didn't sell, you didn't swap. Tab down to coin price, and let's say the coin price was $1.10. Okay, and you paid $10 in fees. It was at Coinbase. Click close. Boom. It's all changed. So now you have on 5/26 Cardano, ADA is the token name. You bought 1,000 tokens. You didn't sell, you didn't swap. You bought 1,000 tokens. You paid $1.10 for them. You paid $10 in fees. So the total cost to you was $1,110. Okay. Over here, if you notice in your ledger for Coinbase, every exchange down here at the bottom is exactly the same, and they all have a transaction section with the form. Click in here. Get your form. Every single one of them has a table with transactions, and then you have a ledger only to show right here balances of what tokens you have done what with in Coinbase, and then totaling them, plussing and minusing all the while per coin. Okay, so per coin. Boom. Boom. Anything you do with XRP at Coinbase is going to be reflected here. Anything you do with Ethereum on Coinbase is going to be reflected here. In Coinbase alone, it's going to show how much money you've ever spent, how much money you've ever cashed out on this exchange, what has your total profit been on this exchange, how much tax liability do you have because of this tax profit from this exchange, and what your total cash in your pocket that you've garnered from all your playing around with all of these coins over time on this exchange, and this exchange, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and so on, and so on, and so on. Every single exchange has its own data records, transactions, and ledger and financial information. Each exchange gives you all three of those. What have I done? What are my balances? How much money have I moved around, plus or minus? Now, after you do something like this, okay, so now let's say you want to go to your portfolio and just take a look at your total overall, every single one of your exchanges work. Bang. You're going to see that you have 10,500 BTC because I gave a example of 1,000 on each one of them. Okay, so now let's go back over here. But you also now have 1,000 Cardano. Why? Because you bought 1,000 Cardano. You bought 1,000 Cardano. So on this right here on your portfolio, you're seeing how much your balance of coins are in Cardano across all of your exchanges. Up here, you're looking at your money movement writ large throughout your entire portfolio. Right here, you're seeing your unrealized profits, meaning any balances that you have here. And by the way, I don't include pricing for you live or 24-hour high and low for you live because I like to let people make their own decisions on that. I do this for myself, and I use different live price feeds to feed into this thing live by going up here and using data queries and stuff like that. I've shown that in other videos, and if you guys want it, I can show it again and do a separate video on that. Leave comments below if you want that. In the meantime, you can go ahead and just do that if you already know how, figure out how to do it, ask me to show you how to do it, or you can just enter in the actual price of the coin at this moment in time. So right now, Cardano, let's say it's like $1.50, a rough guess without looking at any kind of information. Boom. So now you're going to see that I have total cash out value. If I was to sell every single one of my Cardano for $1.50, I got $1,500. I'm imposing upon myself a 25% tax hit to save for a rainy day, just in case the IRS, I need to pay them. So I hold $375 off in a savings account, and I know I have $1,125 that I can play with if I cash this out. This is a projection. The portfolio is just an assumption and a projection of actual coins being held and actual live pricing. All of this is if you do a transaction with these coins, this is your potential. Back over here to Coinbase, you're simply looking at data entry, coin balances, and how much money have you actually spent in this exchange per exchange. Over here on the reference sheet, you're going to notice this right here is feeding these numbers right here. That's all that sheet is for. But it's nice to look at sometimes at a glance and just go, look, at Coinbase, here's all the tokens I have. Which ones do I have? Well, I got only 1,000 tokens of Cardano. At Binance and Kraken and Gemini and Binance USA and da-da-da-da, I have 1,000 Bitcoin on each one of them. Fake, because I had to do that to get these things started. So you can start to see how when you click the pink ones down here and you go to each individual exchange and you input your data, you can see that it also updates your portfolio, and you can see it also updates your reference sheet of your balances of coins per exchange, which this information is obviously being fed right here. This information you're putting in or having it fed live, same here. This is just literally for investment purposes. And then all of this is transacted for you. It's an equation that's done for you. These numbers right here will start to change as you get to a point where it needs to change, meaning you haven't taken any profits yet because you've only cashed out 5,000 against your 23,000 spent. You're not in a profit yet, so it's always going to show zero, and obviously we're only going to hold taxes against profit, not gross, so there's nothing here either. Now, if I go in there and I sell a whole bunch of these for $100 each, watch what happens. Let's go back to Coinbase. Now, let's pretend for this purpose, just to show the equations, that Cardano went from $1 to $100. Now, I click inside here anywhere, I click the form, I come up here, I change the date. Well, let's just leave the date the same. And it's Cardano, but this time I'm going to go, well, I'm sorry, don't do that. I almost made a mistake. This is the actual transaction. You want to click new, and so we're going to do this, 5/26/2021. And oh my God, and make sure always you put in the right symbol or the transaction will not show up on your portfolio or anywhere. So we're dealing with Cardano. I'm going to sell half of them. I'm going to sell 500 of them. And oh my goodness, they just went up to $100 a coin. Good. And they gave me a bonus and I didn't have to pay any fees. Yay. This is heaven. So Coinbase. And we're out. Don't click new, click close. Boom. Transaction has been recorded. So you can see here that I took 500 coins and sold them at $100 a piece. I paid zero in fees. I cashed out $50,000 cash. So now I've spent $1,110. I've cashed out $50,000, profited $48,890. Tax burden is right here. This is my total cash just in Coinbase. Also, you can see that I bought 5,000 coins. I sold 500 Cardano, so my total balance is now 500. Let's go to portfolio. Balance is 500. Current price of the coin, let's say it's $100. So you know now this is what just happened. This doesn't matter. Let's say it's only $90 and you got in early. So you don't even care. You just, before you sell, you would look at this to give yourself reference, but this is showing you information. Come over here to the exchange. You can see now you only have 500, but more importantly, now you have information in your portfolio up here. Now you can see that your entire portfolio, all these pink ones down here, any transactions you've ever done, you've spent $23,220. You've cashed out $55,000. Now you're in a $31,780 profit. Now you have a $7,945 tax burden because it's 25% of your profit. So now this got filled in. Show 0 until you get into more than this. Boom, you're in. Boom, there's your taxes. Just at a glance, you can set this number to be whatever you want. You can click in this box right here, go up here to the formula. I have it at 0.25. You can make it 0.20, 0.30, 0.50, 0.10, whatever you want. I choose short-term capital gains, United States of America, 25% tax. Let's see if it goes up or down. Under the Biden administration, possibly goes to 44, maybe it goes down to 20, who knows? So I just keep this wherever the law is. So that tells me, save this, don't spend it. This is all yours, you know, blah, or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So you can see how starting here with a transaction that you've actually performed on the interwebs is now updating your coin balance on this exchange of any coin that you sell. So if I was to go ahead and just click in here, and now I'm going to buy some Dogecoin. So new. So let's go 5/26/2021, and we're going to get some Doge. Okay, and I'm going to buy 500 Doge. And the coin price is $1, and I paid 0 in fees, and yeah, I'm leaving it here. So let's click close. Boom. I just bought Doge. And you can see here I now have 500 coins of Doge. And you can see on my portfolio I have 500 coins of Doge. And you can see on my reference sheet I now have in Coinbase 500 Doge. So once you come in here and you do a transaction, this gets updated, this gets updated, your portfolio gets updated, this stuff gets updated over time. This gets updated in live time as you type it in and enter it in. So anything you're doing down here is affecting your portfolio, your exchange, and each ledger. So I'm not sure where to go from here other than to tell you this. What I would say you do is you come in here and make sure any of these exchanges that you use are here. And most of you probably that are new to cryptocurrency are going to be using Coinbase. You come in here, you click this right here, you click new, you type in the date, and you're going to buy some polka dot, okay? And you're going to buy 2,000 tokens of it, and the coin price is $22 a coin, and the fee was $30, and you're going to leave them on Coinbase. Okay, click close. Boom. Just annotated it. There's your transaction. There's your coin balance. Here's your cost and everything up here adjusting. Go down to portfolio. You now have 2,000 Cardano. You go over here. You now have, Cardano, Polkadot. Polkadot. You have 2,000 DOT right here in Coinbase, okay? And just to show that it works on anyone, let's go over to KuCoin. Let me pump it up a little bit. Bring it over here. Scroll up. Click inside here. We're going to leave this $1,000 Bitcoin in here. Let's just pretend. Why not? Okay, and let's do a new transaction. 5/26/21. Today we're going to buy some Hex. Okay, and we're going to buy 10,000 Hex. And the price was 5 cents. And the fee was $1. And I'm going to leave it at KuCoin. Okay, close. And there it is. I bought 10,000 Hex. I bought 10,000 Hex. I bought 10,000 Hex. Okay, so go to my portfolio. Hex. Right here, I have 10,000 of them now. And over here, you're going to see that KuCoin, I have 10,000 Hex. Okay, there it is. We're done. I mean, it's really that simple. You just click inside here. You click your form. You enter in your transaction. The key is, and I always screw up on this, is click inside here. And when I get here, I always want to start typing. And this is this making a big point here. Click new. Click new. Boom. And unless you see completely empty cells, don't do anything because you're futzing with the actual transaction from before. So if you want to find the previous transactions, you can look through them if you need to make adjustments because you did type something wrong. That's also fine. And as you update it, so if I update Doge from 500 to 1,000, and then I click close, you can see here now it's 1,000. You can see here now it's 1,000. You can go to my portfolio and see that Doge is now 1,000. You can come back over here and see that Doge is 1,000. So you can make edits if you make mistakes. Long story short, I'm going to put this up on luxatam.com. Download it, play with it. If you guys have any questions about how this all works, I know I raced through this tutorial because it's a 20-some minute long video again, which I keep trying to shorten up. For whatever reason, I can't. So I've done the best I can to shoot this at you really fast and quick. I've jammed as much information in there with links to how I built this thing, just in case you're more advanced than me and you want to take a look at it and dive and make it better. If you're not as advanced at this kind of stuff, then you can go learn and see how it works. If you don't care how it works, you just want to use it, it's ready to go, as you can see. If you guys find any problems with it that I've overlooked for any reason, please put comments in the underneath the video here. Put in some comments of this specific video where this exact sheet was, talked about, so I know that that's what we're talking about here. It helps out. If you like this content and I keep bringing it to you in a good way, reflect that by hitting the subscribe button and share it out there with people that are interested in cryptocurrency, because I am trying to push. This is probably the last one I'm going to do for a long time, because I'm actually going to start working on taking things like this and moving them over to the blockchain and trying to develop applications that are going to be more systematic solutions, that are going to be services that are going to be offered on the blockchain. And I have to start working on that development side starting now. So I've played with this. I've kept it as crude and simple as possible. I just want to make sure that hopefully I'm putting something out there that helps people keep track of the transactions that they're performing, because the more and more and more and more and more you get into this, the less you remember, what did I do 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? I forgot how many did I buy of that at what price. This is just a way to memorialize your movements. That's all it is. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy this sheet. The schedule for me recording has been off, because just to come really clean, if you've gotten this far into the video and watching me, which I don't think people do, I think the amount of watch time I get is like 3 minutes of video. Hopefully, if you're watching this and you get to the end, you understand this. Number one, I have to start switching to live stream as soon as I get better at this, even though I have no audience per se. I need to go to live stream for the simple fact that I'm going to be working on development pretty soon. So that's going to be easier for me just to do it raw and show you the reality of what's going on here as the products are being built. So stick with me on that. In the meantime, I will be putting up more informational videos, hot news about what's going on current, to keep you guys looking forward. This is a very volatile market. Obviously, you saw last week the bloodbath in the streets, which I hope you picked up your dip investments, because it definitely was that. Don't believe all the hype. Be aware of everything that's being said, left, right, and indifferent. If you have the big banks and governments and whatnots telling you one thing, and you got crypto investors and people like me out here saying everything's going to be okay, you should try to figure out where you land with all that information. Or are you on this side, or in the middle? Where do you land with all this? I'm just going to tell you that I'm a go for broke situation. I'm not using any money that affects my family negatively. I'm 100% invested in this space. I'm developing in this space. I'm learning in this space. I'm investing in this space. I'm doing videos about this space. I'm creating tools to help people in this space. I'm not going anywhere until it all goes to zero, if it ever does, which I very highly doubt that it will. This is the same thing they said during the dot-com boom. Of course, I lived through that. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's all going to go. It's never going to be this. And I'm on that dot-com boom right now talking to you with this video. So I don't believe the hype, but I don't also believe the hype. So I'm in the middle, just trying to find out where we're at with everything, get my footing underneath me. This is a long-term play for me. I'm moving in the direction of development because that has sustainable legs, longevity, reality. I can affect my life more with that rather than waiting for prices to go up and down and play the market as a true trader. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. I don't know what to tell people financially. I'm just building tools to help people manage what actions they do take on the blockchain. I hope you've enjoyed this. Take a look out for Friday, possibly, for another video. I should have a good wrap up this Friday on some stuff, and then we'll get back to regular kind of scheduled videos next week. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Have a great day.